Happy Wednesday, Stampers! Welcome, welcome to What's She Making Wednesday. Thanks so much for liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with your friends. I totally appreciate it. Helps me grow my channel, and I just appreciate you so much for doing so. Well, today we're going to use our textured floral stamp set, and we are going to make one of my favorite type of cards, which is using mostly stamps, ink, and paper, and giving it a little added extra touch using my most favorite embossing folder, the Timeworn type. So I totally love this folder and the technique we're going to share today. So let's get started. We are going to use almost every stamp in this set today, so it is lots of stamping, lots of fun. We're going to use a very vanilla card base and a very vanilla layer. So we will start with that. I'm going to bring in my foam mat here with some grid paper, and we are going to get started stamping. Lots of stamping today. So the first color we're going to use is our Moody Mauve. So we're going to use lots of our new in colors today. And we're going to start with this big flower here in our set. So we'll go ahead and ink this up. And we're just going to stamp this in the corner a little bit off. So stamp it down, hold it a second, and pull it right off. So that is our first stamp. Then we're going to pull in two of our other stamps with some berry burst. So we're going to use these two other flowers here, and we're going to use the stems first. We'll do both colors in our berry burst here, or both stamps in our berry burst. We're going to go ahead and ink up the stems here, and we're going to put these kind of in this top corner right here. Perfect. So we've got our stems there. Then we're going to ink up the flowers of this part. Same in our berry burst. We're going to stamp off with those so we can get a lighter color, and we will go ahead and stamp that down right over our stems. So we've got berry burst, we've got Moody Mauve. Set those aside. And then we're going to bring in some bubble bath. And for this one, we're going to use this medium flower right here. So we're going to ink this one up. And we're going to go ahead and stamp this one a few times. So we've got that one a few times on there. Okay, so now we're going to bring in some greenery here. And for our greenery, we're going to use our Mossy Meadow. And we're going to use our two kind of leaves and stems here. So the first one we're going to do goes kind of on the bottom of our stamp here, so of our big flower. So we'll just kind of line that right up and stamp that down, just kind of in the corner. And then we're going to use our smaller leaf. This one we're going to stamp off. And we're going to stamp this one a few times. Kind of below. Okay. Then we're going to add some of our stems here, the middles of our flowers, I should call it. So with our smaller flowers, we're going to use our wild wheat. And we'll use the flower middle here. We're going to ink that up. And we're just going to stamp the middles of our smaller flowers there. We'll close this up for now. We're going to bring in some pebbled path. With our pebbled path, we're going to ink up the middle here of our bigger flower. Stamp that. set this one aside for a second. And we're gonna bring in our smaller flower here. Get that on a block. There we go. This is our smallest flower. And this one, we are also gonna use our berry burst. And this one, we're gonna stamp it off. Let's try that again. Stamp that off, and we're gonna stamp this one kind of lightly around our other flowers here. Give it one more. There we go. Okay, and then we need to do the middles of that flower. So we'll bring back in our wild wheat. We'll use our same middle that we used before. I love our wild wheat because it's kind of like a goldish tint to it. We'll leave that there because we're gonna use that here in a minute. And we're gonna bring in our pebbled path, and we're gonna use our sentiment, every thought of you makes me smile. So we'll ink that up. We're gonna stamp it right here at the top. Sometimes I like to do a practice one just to make sure that it's inked up well. There we go. And then finishing with our wild wheat, we are gonna use these speckled dots that come in our set. So we'll ink up our wild wheat, and we're just gonna kind of give a little bit of interest in some of our white spaces, just to kind of fill it in, and maybe a few across the top. So there we have our stamping. Now this is a beautiful card already, right? We could just mount this on, and already that makes a beautiful card. But I love to do a little bit of and then some. So we're gonna bring in our big boss machine here. We're gonna use our first plate. We're gonna take our embossing folder. We're gonna stick our stamped image, the whole thing, inside of our folder here. We're gonna put our embossing folder plate number 4 on top, and we're just going to run this right through our machine. And then voila, the magic of what happens is we are going to create this super wowy image, because now it's got texture. It kind of marries everything together, all of our images, gives it that and then some, and now it is totally wow. So now we can bring in our green glue. We can adhere this to our vanilla card base. We'll just center that right on our base. And there we have a super and then some card. Every card needs a little bling, so we'll also use our take your pick tool to finish it up here. We'll bring in our in color dots, and I think with this one, it's got all the new in colors. I think we're gonna use our Moody Mauve, and we'll go ahead and put these just kind of around on our card here. Maybe up here in the corner. Okay, so now we took our card from good to great to totally wow. So I hope you love this technique as much as I do. Our embossing folders are one of my favorite items because they really are cost effective and make a big impression on our audience, right? So we love, love, love those. So thank you again for liking, subscribing, for sharing this video with your friends. And if you love this technique, I'd love to know, what is your favorite embossing folder that we have or that you have? And maybe what's next on your wish list. So tell me below in the comments. As always, you can check out stampinqueenbee.com for subscribing to my newsletter, where I share all the measurements each week and tips and tricks and all kinds of things. So thanks so much. I'll see you next week. And every thought of you absolutely makes me smile too. Have a great one. Bye-bye.